In the previous movie, we created rudimentary path data and placed a bot in our scene that utilized that path data to navigate the world. In this movie, we'll set up limits on where path data is generated for our level. By default, Kynapse generates path data for all areas in the scene that a path family member could potentially stand. However, to save memory, we'll want to limit the path data we generate to only cover what the bot can actually navigate. The navigable terrain is determined by a number of factors, the first of which is the terrain type. The terrain type is a property that allows you to split your terrain geometry into a number of different sections. By default, Kynapse allows you to tag path data with these different terrain types based on their material. It also allows you to set bots to avoid a certain terrain type completely. Any other terrain-specific interactions, such as giving preferential treatment to, say, roads versus grass, will rely on your own implementation. Double-click the Example Family node. The Terrain Type property allows you to set up to 32 different terrain type material mappings per family. These mappings outline how this family interacts with the various terrain types in your game. Let's make this particular family land only. Expand the Terrain Type 0 field. Set the Terrain Type flag to Kynapse Reserved Terrain Type Non-Walkable. Now you can add a material to this terrain type by clicking the small green plus button next to the Materials field. Let's add the Water Master Mat material of our Kynapse example package. Note that we could add more materials to this terrain type. If there were additional water materials, like swamp for instance, or even other unnavigable materials, we could add them here. In general, you'll want to group materials based on how a bot should react to them. For now, let's regenerate the path data with this single mapping. Notice that Kynapse no longer generates path data for areas covered in water. If you play the level, you can confirm that the bot is now forced to use the bridge to cross the water. We're halfway there now, but notice that path data is still being generated for areas like the rooftops or the island at the base of the waterfall. Unless our character can jump several stories, they'll never be able to reach these points, even though, technically, they're made of a navigable material. We could flag these areas with a different terrain type, but this may cause problems later if you decide to make them accessible via a ramp or other structure. Instead, we'll use a seed point. A seed point is an actor that serves as a starting point for path data generation. With it, Kynapse can calculate all the navigable areas reachable from that seed point, rather than all the navigable areas, period. To create a seed point, open the Content browser and go to the Actor Classes tab. Drag a Kynapse seed point actor into your scene and place it somewhere near your bot's spawn point. Now double-click the seed point to open its properties. Under Kynapse seed point, replace the default family with your example family. Now regenerate the path data. Notice that the rooftops and island no longer have any path data. Finally, Say we wanted to make sure that our bot didn't go into the forbidden forest. We can make the area off limits by surrounding it with an exclusion volume. Using the cube brush, create a basic border of the forest. When the shape is finished, click the Add Volume button and select the Kynapse exclusion volume from the list. Double-click the volume to view its properties. Under the Kynapse Exclusion Volume section, replace the default family with your example family. Now regenerate your path data. Kynapse will not generate path data for the area inside your exclusion volume. If you play your scene, you can now see that although the soldier will approach the outskirts of the forest, he won't venture inside. You can use exploration volumes to get the opposite effect if there's a certain area you want to keep your bots within. Now you have a family for land-traversing soldiers in your environment. You can create additional families for engineers, medics, snipers, and any other bots that share the same navigation characteristics.